Hubhopper Originals.
To start your podcast for free, log on to studio.hubhopper.com.
Hello and welcome to the Success with Savitha podcast, where we share hot tips on how to do life and business without losing your mind. I'm your host, Savitha Nanjappa, entrepreneur, high-achieving 9-to-5er turned transformational success coach, helping you create a wildly successful business. Come hang out with me and other fabulous humans like you every week for stories and chats packed with a healthy dose of tips, resources, how-tos, and real talk. Side effects may include a happier and more confident you with each passing day. Hi, and welcome to the Success with Savitha podcast. And today I'm excited to share with you that our podcast, this one, has hit 52K plus listens, which means listeners like you who are listening in today are the reason for us growing to these numbers from the time that we launched on 1st March 2021. So thank you so very much. I hope me and my wonderful guests continue to add value and share valuable content with you that can help you elevate your life and your business. With that, let's get started with today's episode, which is a solo episode from me. And I am talking about 10 things to know when you start a business. The one common thread that ties all entrepreneurs and founders together is that there is no rule book, especially if your company is innovating a new product or developing an entirely new category or business model. There is no path to follow or leadership style to mimic. It can be a daunting experience, but if you're up for the challenge, it will be one that undoubtedly changes your life for the better. But if you're a new founder or about to start a company, I'm sharing a few things everyone should do when starting a business. Here's what to consider before you take that leap of faith and start your business. Number one, begin with revenue. It's nice that you have a dream, but the reality is that you will need to make money. Whether you're planning or pitching to investors or building a customer-funded business, you will need cash flow. Cash flow is the heartbeat of your business. Author and entrepreneur Seth Godin says, "It pays to have big dreams, but low overhead." Overhead are things such as rent, payroll, and other monthly recurring expenses like paying for your domains, paying for your website, paying for your email platform, and marketing that you may need to invest in. Make a plan and write specific goals for how you're going to be making money. And in this area, I would also ask you to approach this like an investor. If you were to pitch your business to an investor, what are some of the questions they would be asking you? And then planning for that now is a good idea. Second, especially if you're innovating a product or creating a new product category, then protect your IP. IP stands for intellectual property. So trademark your work and spend time on your policies right from the beginning. Speak to a trademark lawyer and make sure you're covering all your bases in the legal sense. Have a designated spot for organizing all paperwork, legal documents, and trademarks. You will have a lot of paperwork when you start a business, and you want to make sure you don't throw away something important because you thought it was spam. Tip 3 is market yourself. Free marketing on social media is the key to growing your startup with a low overhead. Research social media marketing ideas, do your homework, choose your platform. Study businesses that are doing what you do. Know your target audience. Where is your ideal customer currently spending their money, if not on you? Connect with like-minded business owners and learn from each other. It's good to collaborate. It's good to have those conversations going. It's good for you to go build your network. Create a marketing strategy before you begin marketing and ask lots of questions. 4, know your why. If cash flow is the heartbeat of your business, then your why is the actual heart. If you can't write down the internal, external, and philosophical problem your company is working to solve, your business won't have a backbone. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, "He who has a why can endure anyhow." Understand yourself so that you can make great hires. You may not need to hire right at the start, but when you do, you want to do it right. Organizations are never limited by their opportunity. They're limited by their leader, according to Dave Ramsey. You are the leader. You need passion integrity, humility, courage, self-discipline. Know your strengths and weaknesses and leadership capabilities so that when the time comes to make a hire or outsource or seek support, you know where you're lacking and what you need in your business. Become self aware and discern in what areas you need to improve. And then make sure to build a proper hiring process and an onboarding process because this is important. Here's a story. I spent 17 years in the corporate world, and when I started my own business and I made my first hire, I just did one interview. I didn't have the background check on, I didn't ask for employer references, I didn't even check what would their interest be. I was hiring for a full-time role. I didn't make these crucial checks. So I had this conversation, it was great. This girl had a lot of passion, and I was like, okay, this is a great fit. She was really excited about working for the brand. And that's it. I hired on the spot. What I didn't know was she didn't really want this job. And she was actually working at another company. And she hadn't even given her notice period in before she started working for us. Now, all of this would have been taken care of in the corporate world because we had a strong hiring process, a strong HR team who would have verified all of these things. And actually, when I would do the final interview, that was it. All of the other factors, everything else, background checks included, would have already been vetted by other people, other team members, before it came to the final interview with me, who would be the person's boss. Now, because all of this was skipped, I actually ended up with a bad hire. So don't do what I did. So you need to plan right. Set up your interview process. Actually, it should be extensive because turnover can kill a startup. So if you don't have a strong process in place, strong onboarding process in place, strong orientation and training in place, you can have this continuous turnover, which actually ends up causing a huge, massive problem in your startup. So turnover can kill a startup. Number 6, you are not the boss, but the customer is. Your customers are the boss. Your customers are the hero. It's all about your customers. The story about how and why you started your company isn't as important as how and why your customers need your product. Learn how to serve your customers, but know that once in a while, your customer might be wrong. Remember that you have the freedom to occasionally fire a customer. Embrace the concept that your product is not for everyone, and this would apply to services as well. Choose your customers just like you would choose if it's that kind of product which is a massy product which everyone needs and it's direct to customer. It's different. But if you're doing B2B sales, then maybe sometimes you have to let go of some customers. You should have a little filter that you use for clients before they actually become your clients. And if somebody doesn't meet some of those filters, you've got to let them go. In fact, look out for my next episode. I am going to talk about how to choose the right clients and what are some things that you can set up, especially for service-based businesses, that will allow you to see the red flags and identify and have great customers in your business. Remember that you have freedom to fire a customer and really believe that maybe your product is not for everyone. Okay. Tip 7, build structure and find balance. Professionals show up and do the work when they don't feel like it. Become obsessed with time management or you will begin drowning in chaos. Build a structure for your business so that you can find a healthy work-life balance. And you can do this through getting help on time management tools, figuring out what works for you, knowing how you approach productivity, what are things that you get through. Like, it takes some time to introspect the kind of person that you are and how you approach work. In the long run, you want to conserve energy, you don't want to burn out, and you want to actually have enough time for you to run a business, build a business. And often, yes, there are times and phases in your business when you will need to put in longer hours, but you've got to see how you can balance it out. Number 7 is build structure and find balance from the get-go before you do this right from the start so that you don't end up spending 2 years in your business, end up with burnout, and then have to take some time off. And that means that it ends up stalling your business because you're not able to give it your all. Number 8, build a savings account and an emergency savings fund. Finances and managing cash flow are two of the biggest distractions for any business. If you don't have a CFO from the start, hire an accountant or outsource it and build your savings. An emergency fund for your business can be anywhere from 3 months to a year of overhead expenses you have saved in case of sudden disaster like what we had in the pandemic. Move money into your tax savings account every month and don't touch it. You will be able to stay hyper-focused on developing your business, knowing that you have that amount put away as an emergency fund, so you actually build cash flow and cash reserves within your business. Number 9, embrace change and challenges. Entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there is little difference between the obstacle and opportunity and are able to turn both into their advantage, notes Seth Godin. You will face many obstacles, ups and downs. I could spend all day telling you about all the ups and downs I've experienced in the last 4 years in my business, but then I would be talking about the problem, not the solution. Godin says, you're going to do your best work and it's not going to work. Taking it personally will cripple you. It's okay for you to be unprepared when you start, and that's the case for a lot of us entrepreneurs. You get started, progress over perfection. You find that there are many variables that you cannot control no matter how organized you feel. You will be much more stress-free if you learn to embrace change and don't grip your business by the throat. Number 10, know your next steps. This is really important because you can start your business, get taken in by shiny object syndrome, get carried away by what everyone else is doing and think that that's what you ought to be doing. But having a business plan will help you know exactly what your next 2 steps are going to be in your business. These steps will provide you a sense of stability. They could be as simple as securing clients, or you're only working on getting it 1 client at a time. You're going to hit 100 clients, then you're going to go to 1,000, right? Or you could have long-term goals around building a community, but just focus on that 1, 2, 3 steps and go at it step by step. Do not get distracted. This is really important. When I started my business, there were so many things that I thought I had to do, ought to do in my first year because I felt everyone else was doing all these things, but forgetting that they were doing these things when they were in their 8th year of business or 10th year of business, whereas I was in my first year of business, and the number one thing I just needed to focus on was keeping overheads low and making sure that I was getting those paying clients. Of course, instead, I got clients who I was afraid to ask to be paid what I was worth and did a lot of free work. But that's an episode for another day. So these are my 10 steps. Write it down. I hope you find it useful and I hope you actually apply it if you are either just starting out or you plan to start your business or you plan to start a side hustle. If you liked the episode, if you liked what I shared, please subscribe, give us a listen, give us a review, give us a 5-star rating if you're on iTunes, if you really liked it, and recommend us to a friend. Send this episode over to someone who needs to hear this today. And I also want to share with you that if you would like to get my newest guide, I've created a guide which is the Millionaire Morning Guide. If you would like to get that, you can get in the link which is in the show notes below, or you can also get it from my Instagram link in bio. My Instagram handle is below, and if you like what you're hearing here, give me a follow. And for female entrepreneurs listening to me right now, I'm launching a 12-month-long mentorship program. We have started onboarding now. The information on this is available now on my Instagram handle. So if you'd like to join me inside the mentorship community, feel free to go ahead and sign up to it. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so very much for listening in. Have a wonderful weekend ahead, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like this episode and you want more, you can go to the show notes on my website, which is successwithsavitha.com/podcast. If you like what you've heard so far, I would be grateful to you if you could leave me a 5-star review, subscribe to this podcast, and share with a friend who may find this useful. You can also follow me on my Instagram @successwithsavitha and DM me any questions you may have, and I will be happy to answer them for you. Until the next episode, believe in yourself and all the best to your success.
इस हब हॉपर ओरिजिनल को सुनने के लिए आपका शुक्रिया। अगर आप भी अपना पॉडकास्ट लॉन्च करना चाहते हैं, तो हब हॉपर स्टूडियो वेबसाइट पे रजिस्टर करें और 1 मिनट के अंदर अंदर अपना खुद का पॉडकास्ट लॉन्च करें। यही नहीं, स्टूडियो देता है आपको पूरी आजादी कहीं भी कभी भी अपना पॉडकास्ट लॉन्च करने की, सिर्फ 3 आसान स्टेप्स में। तो साथ में अपना पॉडकास्ट शुरू करने के लिए तैयार? जस्ट हॉप ऑन हब हॉपर, सिंपली कंटेंट।